Hello, I'm Ashish Kulkarni. I was a student of computer engineering at COEP, College of Engineering, Pune, from 2013 to 2017. In these 4 years, I was part of COEP's satellite initiative project called Swayam. As part of this project, we developed a satellite which was launched by ISRO in June 2016. In this video, I'll be speaking about my experience working on this project during my 4 years at COEP. So let's start by talking about Swayam. Swayam is a pico satellite, that means its dimensions are 10 centimeters square, which was developed by students of COEP over a span of 8 years and which was finally launched by ISRO on June 16th, 2016. To elaborate on Swayam, Swayam had two objectives. Its main primary objective, also called as payload, was to provide point-to-point text messaging service for users on Earth. In addition to this primary payload, there was also a scientific payload called as passive attitude stabilization. We'll speak on this once we discuss the passive attitude control stabilization subsystem in detail. The Swayam project had five subsystems. The first one was power, followed by onboard computers, structures, communications, and the ACS subsystem called as attitude control. Let's start with attitude control subsystem. Swayam had a scientific objective of demonstrating attitude control in space without the use of any power or energy. This was the first experiment of this kind taken up in India. To elaborate on passive attitude control, it means it did not use any energy or thrusters to stabilize its attitude when it's launched in space. This attitude stabilization was done using magnets. The goal was to align Swayam and its magnets in accordance with Earth's magnetic field. So this is about the attitude control subsystem. Let's speak about the power subsystem. The power subsystem was responsible for providing, as the name suggests, power to all the subsystems on board Swayam satellite. And the source of power for a satellite is usually solar energy. And that was the case for Swayam as well. There were solar cells installed on each side of the Swayam satellite, which converted solar energy into electrical energy, which was then used by all the circuits on board Swayam. In addition to supplying power, the power subsystem was also responsible for maintaining appropriate voltage and current levels as required by different circuitries on Swayam satellite. Now let's jump to the subsystem I was a part of, which is the communications subsystem. Communication subsystem is further divided into two parts. The first part was the communication subsystem on board Swayam satellite itself. So this involved a microcontroller which was responsible for maintaining communication with ground stations and also sending a periodic beacon to the Earth to signal its availability and position at any time. So these were the main two tasks of the communication subsystem on board Swayam. Now let's come to the ground station subsystem. The ground station communication subsystem was responsible for building antennae, transceivers to enable communication with Swayam satellite. In fact, not just Swayam satellite, COEP ground station was able to establish communication with a lot of other satellites as well, other than Swayam. So this is about the ground station part of the communication subsystem. Again, my as part of working on Swayam, I worked on developing software that was distributed to users across the globe to communicate with Swayam satellite. We built a desktop application along with a hardware that could establish communication with Swayam satellite. In addition to this, the onboard microcontroller, which was called TNC, was also programmed to establish communication with ground systems and send various health monitoring and text messages and other types of data back to the ground station. Now, let's talk about structures subsystem. The structures subsystem, as the name suggests, was responsible for building the actual structure. I mean, the assembling the satellite, building, attaching solar sails, ensuring the integrity of the satellite during launch, and other such responsibilities. So that's about the structure subsystem. Finally, there was the onboard computers, or OC as we used to call it, subsystem. This subsystem was the brain of the satellite. It was responsible for the main payload, which was point to point text messaging and used to serve this purpose. It was interfaced with a memory card, which was used to store text message data on board Swayam satellite. The onboard computer OC used to communicate with the onboard communication systems microcontroller called as TNC to send all the health monitoring data and the payload back to the ground stations. So this is a brief overview of different subsystems of the Swayam satellite. I hope uh, I was able to provide some value to all the viewers of this video. Thank you.